Okay, so I just received my tax return for last year's income in 2020, and we more than doubled the amount of money that we made on this channel from the year before. And that's just crazy to me. Hey team, welcome back to another episode. Today we are going to be walking you through the money that we made on YouTube and what that means for the channel moving into the future. Now obviously Leah is not here. She is off teaching high schoolers about safe sex for a couple of days, which leaves me here at home alone, which is totally fine.
Hello darkness, my old friend.
I was about to say that we don't actually need Leah for this video because she's not particularly involved with the business or financial sides of this YouTube channel, but I know obviously a whole bunch of you would be like, we love Leah, why is there no more Leah? We always want more Leah. In the theme of transparency, I have to let you know that this video is sponsored by Skillshare. They're an amazing online learning community, and I've talked about them a bunch on the channel in the past. But we're gonna get into how awesome they are and how awesome it is that they're sponsoring content like this later in the video. But first, we need to head to the garden. So whenever Leah leaves town, I always have to kind of like relearn how to, take care of myself and do basic routines. So we're going to the garden to water it because otherwise, it dies. So if you're new here, you might not know that Leah and I are a part of a community garden here in Victoria, but you might also not know that Leah and I committed to giving away 100% of our AdSense revenue this year. And actually, last week, we announced our first giveaway, which was an effort to plant as many trees as possible. So we challenged all of you, members of the team, to like our previous video, and for every like, we would plant a tree. And as of recording this video, I think we're at like 9,000 something likes, which is kind of crazy because we have to hit 10,000 by Thursday, which is Earth Day, and that's like a day from now. So we're right there at the line. Here's the garden, lucky number 7. And wow, it is popping off this morning. These garlics we planted in the fall last year, and they are absolutely going crazy. So based on some comments we've received in the past, I think people believe that Leah and I are like professional gardeners or something. We don't know what we're doing. We're just guessing. And, we document it more than probably other people do. So, don't think we're like amazing gardeners. Anyone can do this. So we are going to be giving you our final numbers on Earth Day, so make sure that you are following us on Instagram where we'll be announcing all of that. But we weren't always giving away thousands of dollars to help save the planet. That's a very new development, and it's in large part because we had a banger year last year. So let's get into how that all happened. Now, I'm not going to say that this miraculous increase in revenue was sort of an accident or we never saw it coming. I actually had the very deliberate goal at the start of 2020 that I wanted to start maximizing the amount of revenue that we could generate with this channel. I had just sunk 2 full years into a channel that had yielded pretty marginal financial returns considering how much money and energy I was pumping into it. The first year we made literally $0 whatsoever, and in the second year we netted about $35,000. Now, I'm not saying that that was not enough money for us. Leah and I lived comfortably with that amount of income, but knowing that we had a mortgage for this apartment coming down the line and Leah going back into her PhD, I really felt some pressure to financially find some stability with this project that I've been working on for the last 2.5 years. So if you haven't seen my video that I made about my income last year, this is kind of how it broke down. Most of my money came from sponsorships. I made some money from commissions or affiliate marketing, AdSense, of course, and then a very, very small piece of the pie was Patreon support. Simplifying that whole process was the goal, and as you sort of know, it went pretty well. So without further ado, let's break down the numbers. So once again, last year on YouTube, we made most of our money off of sponsorships. 60% of the money that we made came from brand deals with companies like Skillshare, and we're gonna get into them in a minute. 17% came from commission. That's like affiliate links that are down in the description of this video. Next, we had AdSense, which made up about 15% of our total income. And then Patreon sliding in at just under 10%. Now, I realize as I'm saying it that these numbers might not line up perfectly, but I'm giving you general numbers, okay? None of these are gonna be specific because I friggin' hate math. Now, in terms of where our money came from, obviously I would have loved to have less reliance on sponsorships, but the reality is that they're a hugely important part for most creators' financial stability. And that's why I'm stoked that Skillshare is sponsoring this video. Now, before you click away, I wanna explain why Skillshare is such a crazy sponsor for a creator like me. See, I can't just accept sponsors from any old company that sends me an email. This is really hard because I understand that my audience trusts my opinion on brands and products. And so I have to be extremely careful to maintain that trust. Skillshare is great because A, they're consistent. They do batch style promotions with creators, meaning that they'll sponsor 5 or 6 videos at a time. But Skillshare is more than just convenient. They fulfill a criteria that's pretty hard to meet. A, they do not promote some kind of mindless consumer product, which most brand sponsorships are. They actually offer a service which I can get behind. The learning of new skills, which is incredibly important in my opinion, especially if you have any aspirations to promote or share your passion online. See, this whole thing with the lights and the camera doesn't happen unless you've developed the skills to do so. And Skillshare is a great place to be able to do that. As I mentioned earlier in this video, my first year and a half basically generated 0 income. A class that I would have loved to have access to is Creative Career Essentials with Sonia Rasula. Knowledge of those basic principles is incredibly important to make sure that you can have a legitimate chance at making these things work. This course, along with an entire fleet of entrepreneurial and business-focused classes, are going to be super helpful in getting you to the goals that you want to achieve. So if you are at all interested in expanding on your entrepreneurial or creative passions, I highly suggest you go down to the description where the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. That way you can test out a couple of classes and see if it works for you, and if not, you can cancel with no charge. So thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into the money. Now, the second largest but much smaller source of income on this channel, as I said, was commissions. The link's down in the description for the products that I endorse and that I think are awesome make up about 17% of our total income. And from a channel perspective, I don't put much emphasis on commissions because it does kind of go counter to the channel message, which is, you know, don't consume a bunch of stuff, even if it's good stuff. One weirdly dark moment that happened in my commission sales this year was right in the middle of the pandemic when everybody was selling out of toilet paper. I saw a huge spike in Tushy bidet sales. It was honestly such a surreal experience, like hearing all the news and everything going absolutely crazy with this pandemic and profiting from that directly. It was totally strange. Our third largest source of income was Google AdSense. This is the money that we've committed to giving away this year on YouTube, and last year it made up about 12% of our total income. Google AdSense is actually a really consistent source of income for this channel. Now, because I make real efforts to make my content as accessible as possible, every single one of my videos is monetized fully. So that means that despite not being the biggest channel and getting the most views, our AdSense is pretty decent and super consistent. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this year, I have no control over what ads play on our videos. And I also don't have any say in whether or not they get advertised at all. And coming in dead last was Patreon. Now in 2019, I was way too self-conscious about this channel and what I was doing to ask people like you to support me. In 2020, I had made a bit more of a conscious effort. I
recognized that if I wanted to do this YouTube thing long term and I wanted to make sure that it was viable for me, I needed to find a baseline. So I started adding value to the Patreon page, adding different perks, making sure that I was active on there, and mentioning it more often in videos. We went from basically like 0% to 10% in 1 year, which is actually a lot of growth considering that it was the smallest income source that we had overall. Now this is it, the moment that you've waited for, the actual numbers. Our channel made $135,000 in 2020. This is more than double what we made in 2019. This is a humongous jump for us. This was totally unexpected. We were never expecting it to get to this point. Now, yes, this is more money than Leah and I have ever made in our lives before, but these are not the final numbers. That's gross income, not net. We had about $28,000 worth of expenses. That's all of the stuff that goes into making these videos. We also paid over $30,000 in federal and provincial taxes. We also donated $2,500 to various different charities, and that included our 1% for the Planet Pledge, in which I somehow ended up with a mullet. This brings our take-home income to about $73,000. And remember, Leah basically doesn't make any money at this point. She's had some grants in the past, but this channel is our primary income source. Now, obviously, none of this could have happened without you on the team, the people who support what we do, who show up for all these videos, who like them when they come out, who share them with their friends. So thank you so much. But I want to talk a little bit about what this money means for the channel moving forward. This channel was created to spread positivity about our environmental challenges and give people some ideas and some resources about how they can make a difference themselves. The fact that we've made a nice living for ourselves off of that, I think shouldn't be a weird thing, but it might be. So I want to tell you how I plan to use this money to continue to build this channel as a resource. I'm never going to sell merch, and that means that I have to create something online that you all think is awesome that also supports us. Something I'm really hoping to do in the future is move towards more viewer-supported content. With all of the bonus perks and features that we have on Patreon, I really feel that now we're giving something unique to the people who want to support the channel but get something out of it in return. But I'm also working on an ebook that's going to be coming out later this summer. In that ebook, I break down everything that goes into this channel and all the stuff I've learned over the years. My hope is that I can swing the balance more in favor of the content that all of you want to see rather than the stuff that sponsors and commissions push me towards creating. I don't know if this is like too much information or like awkward for you or just not something you're interested in at all, but I really feel a responsibility to all of you to share where this channel is going and what my plans are with it. So if you are a supporter of the channel and you click on every video, I want to thank you for doing that because it literally makes this whole thing work. And if you want to support the channel, you can check out Skillshare down below. They're an amazing sponsor. I really appreciate them coming out and making sure that these videos make me money so that you can keep watching them for free. But regardless of any of that, if you are subscribed to this channel, of course, we will see you in the next one. And maybe Leah will be here too, because I miss her. And I know you do too. She is pretty great.